Hey, what's going on everyone? I'm Jakejames Lugo and welcome to the channel where you'll find some of the most fair and honest game reviews out here. And if you were like me growing up back in the 90s, chances are you were a huge fan of dinosaurs. Why? Because everybody was back then. It was really due to a few key reasons, but one thing that everybody agrees upon is the release of this movie right here, Jurassic Park, which is what we're going to talk about today. If you were a big fan of the movie back then, you probably played this or any one of the other video games that came out about that film. And because we're talking about this today, you're going to want to sit down because you might be surprised at what I might have to say about this thing. Back in the 90s, everybody was super excited about dinosaurs after the release of Steven Spielberg's landmark film, Jurassic Park. It was a monumental success, as well as a huge advancement for computer graphics in movies. So naturally, with the success of the movie came all sorts of merchandising, including video games on multiple consoles. The one that I grew up playing was Jurassic Park for the SEGA Genesis, which released in August of 1993. An interesting note about this game was that it was the first release on the SEGA Genesis to use the new rating system that was created by SEGA at the time. It was rated GA by the Video Game Rating Council, which rated all SEGA games on all of their consoles. However, the group was later disbanded and replaced later on by the ESRB in 1994. Just some fun facts for all of you. Anyway, Jurassic Park lets you control two different characters that are loosely based on the events of the movie. You could play as either Dr. Grant or a Velociraptor. Grant's story has you trying to escape Jurassic Park, much like in the film, while playing as the Velociraptor has you chasing Dr. Grant as he moves through the park. It's neat having two different perspectives of the same story, even though the events of the game don't exactly match up what happens in the movie or in the book. But does this side-scrolling action game live up to the legacy that was 65 million years in the making? Maybe, but that all depends on how much of a fan you are of Jurassic Park. So the main thing about Jurassic Park the game on SEGA Genesis is that we only get one character from either the book or the film that makes an appearance here. We don't get to see any of the other cast members, which to me is a real missed opportunity. It's kind of a shame. There are other versions of Jurassic Park that have like diet versions of those characters, but for this one, we don't see any of them. I mean, if you want to really stretch things out, you could say that the narration that happens before each stage with that text scroll, that's probably Dr. Hammond actually telling you, or Dr. Grant, quote unquote, what's going down or what's about to happen. But again, that's such a huge stretch, and I wish that we actually saw the characters rather than have things implied or just not there at all. So besides all that, let's get away from the story and start talking about the gameplay, which I believe we're gonna have a lot more to really discuss here about Jurassic Park the game, because we have two playable characters, right? But does it offer enough, or at least, something interesting enough in comparison to both the book and the film? Jurassic Park on the Genesis isn't all that special when it comes to its gameplay. It plays like any other basic platformer that we've seen before. While you can pick who to play as from the start, Dr. Grant's story is really the first default one to begin with. Grant can use different weapons against dinosaurs to put them to sleep, which is kind of like in the movie where they made a big deal about why humans could only use non-lethal weapons. Imagine that. Dr. Hammond would be super pissed if you went around killing his investment, right? This means that you get weapons like tranquilizer darts, gas grenades, an electric stun gun, and even gas rockets. Unfortunately, you have to find them hidden throughout each stage, but it's not as bad as you might think. However, the real problem here isn't the dinosaurs that you encounter, but the terrible frame rate and the myriad of bugs that plague the game. Most levels are borderline unplayable because of this, making them super annoying to get through. Things get real bad when you're trying to make precise jumps or react to incoming dinosaurs that are trying to attack you. Dr. Grant has about 7 stages in total, which start at the jungle within Jurassic Park after his Jeep is destroyed, all the way through to the ending at the visitor center from the movie. To be totally real with you, both the visuals and the layout of stages are incredibly mediocre. There's even a few locations that weren't in the movie at all and are just thrown in here to pad things out. I played through the game on normal, but the amount of damage that you take from hostile dinosaurs is super inconsistent. Even the fall damage you receive is all over the place. There just seems to be a lot of balancing issues that just straight up weren't ironed out. The fun gets quickly lost when you have to deal with all this cheap and annoying nonsense all over the place. Alright, look. I like that there's a variety of dinosaurs that you get to encounter in every single stage of the game. There's some dinosaurs in here that you recognize from the film that you get to see in the game, and that's totally cool. However, my biggest thing with this is that while we do have encounters with the Tyrannosaurus Rex in here, we don't get any big boss fight against the T-Rex, which to me is absolutely insane. That's absolutely freaking nuts. Like, why would you not have a boss fight against the T-Rex? Like, does anybody remember the ending of Jurassic Park? You guys remember that big scene right before the Raptors are about to eat Grant and the kids? All of a sudden the T-Rex just smashes through the visitor center wall and starts eating the Raptors or fighting them? Like, where's that moment in this game? Like, we don't have any moment like that in any Jurassic Park game, as far as I know, especially from the 16-bit era back in the 90s. We just don't have something like that, and to me, that is such a huge missed opportunity. Like, real talk, the most intimidating dinosaur in this game specifically is the Raptors, because you have to deal with them, you have to knock them out before they come at you, otherwise they are constantly on your ass every single time you run into one. And if there's more than one around, especially towards the end of the game, you're pretty much assed out. Like, there's not much you could do, because not only do they do ridiculous damage, but they jump around like a bunch of idiots, and like they're very hard to hit if you don't have them straight ahead in front of you with some distance. That could get very annoying. Granted, they are velociraptors, they're supposed to be vicious, but when it comes to balance and overall just, really nice fun gameplay to get into, they could be super freaking annoying. But there's my point though, they shouldn't be that annoying. They should at least, be dangerous, but not super annoying at the same time. And while that's going on, we should still have a freaking boss fight against the T-Rex that should be freaking epic and awesome. Not just the head of the T-Rex that's just hanging out here, and you just throw a gas grenade, you could kind of just, skedaddle around away from it. Like, where's the moment that we had with the Jeep? Kind of like in the very beginning of the game with the cutscene, but where's an actual section where we could play that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just feels like there's stuff in here that could have been freaking awesome, and we just straight up did not get it. All of that being said is only related to Grant's story, however. We still got a whole nother section of this game to talk about, which is the Raptor, and where do I even freaking begin, man? Because, let's just get on with it, right? While Grant's story had its fair share of problems, the Velociraptor doesn't get off easy. Playing as the Raptor is different, both in a good and a bad way. There's only 5 stages to play through, with a few similarities to Grant's story. Instead of encountering more dinosaurs, however, you fight mostly humans from the Jurassic Park staff. The humans are trying to stop the Raptor from escaping the island as you chase around Dr. Grant. There are a few dinos here and there, like the Compy and the Dilophosaurus, but you won't get anything else like the T-Rex in here from the Raptor stages. And for me, that really, really sucks. Seriously, I wish there was more dinosaurs you could find that you wouldn't see in Grant's story. That would have made things so much more interesting. Along with that, playing as the Raptor could be rough because of the haphazard controls. You're able to jump super high in the air, bite around enemies with your jaws, and attack things with your Raptor claws. All of that is pretty cool, but you're very heavy and restricted with your movement. It just doesn't feel all that good. The size of the Raptor is a big problem when you're trying to jump over certain pits or move carefully around enemies in tight spaces. What I really hate is how the human enemies get this instant reaction against you with their stun guns. They push you back far and do massive damage, with enough time to do this over and over again. This could be super freaking frustrating, and you have to almost bend the game's mechanics to get around it, almost like you're cheating a bit to beat the game. Seriously, I'm not even kidding with how BS this can feel sometimes. The final stage has you face to face with Dr. Grant in the visitor center, but don't think this is any better than Grant's story. The final battle here is also mediocre and downright terrible. All you do is run to both sides of the bone display and kick them down to break everything down. It's so anticlimactic that you don't even get to fight Dr. Grant. Attacking him is also pretty much asking for trouble because he gets an instant stun attack, which does ridiculous damage. You can't hurt him whatsoever, so what's the point? When you break the bone display down, Grant just runs past you as everything is tumbling down. Seriously, what the heck is that ending? I felt so robbed even as a kid when I was playing this. It would have been so much better if we got to see ourselves eating Dr. Grant after fighting him. But no, instead we get a stupid fossil display falling down and a really crappy cutscene of the Raptor escaping from the island on a wooden crate. What the hell? Yeah, I'm sorry to say, but this part of the game is just super underwhelming. It's just not that good as we remember. It was really poorly designed, had a lot of bugs, and all these other problems that just make it very mediocre at best. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, it's cool to control a Velociraptor, and it's unique at first, when you first play it within that first stage, maybe a couple minutes. But once you start to go through the rest of the game and actually see just how banged up it is and how haphazardly put together this portion of the game is, it's a shame because this could have been really freaking cool, especially, again, I'm gonna go back to it, if we would have gotten a boss fight against the T-Rex. If we didn't get it in Grant's story, why couldn't we get it in the freaking Raptor story too? That's what happens literally at the end of the freaking movie. Like, whoever developed this game on that team there, just either they had no resources enough to actually make that section of the movie into the game, or they just completely forgot about it because it's just such an iconic scene, you know, especially for the film. There's that huge thing right at the end where the freaking T-Rex is there and it says, when dinosaurs roam the earth, and it's that banner that falls down and she gives that epic roar. It's like, how do you miss this in a video game called Jurassic Park? I'm just saying, people. So if it wasn't already obvious, can I recommend that you play through Jurassic Park for the SEGA Genesis? Hard? Nope. Absolutely not. This game is straight up bad. It's a movie-based game that is very mediocre. Unless you're already a big fan of Jurassic Park and want to feel the nostalgia, there's nothing good for you here. The game suffers from a ton of bugs, glitches, and very poor design choices. Even worse, the game doesn't even have some of the cooler scenes from the movie that it's based on. I seriously don't understand why you do not include a boss battle with the T-Rex for either Dr. Grant or the Raptor in a game that's called Jurassic Park. It's such a big missed opportunity, and I'm absolutely dumbfounded this actually happened. You can relive your childhood all you want, but otherwise, you're better off staying far away from this old fossil. And there you go, everyone. Those are my thoughts about Jurassic Park the game on SEGA Genesis. I have a lot of nostalgia for this game. I grew up playing this a lot. As you guys could probably tell, I played this game a whole freaking lot. The problem is, though, is that looking back at it now with fresh eyes and a much more mature mindset, this game was haphazard. This game was mad. This game was whatever. It was so rushly put together, and it really shows. There's so many bugs and other problems with it that I wish that it could have been handled better, because Jurassic Park as a concept makes an awesome premise for a video game, and especially if they included things like the freaking T-Rex boss fight into something like this, it would have been amazing. It would have been an epic win. It probably would have withstood the test of time for 65 million years in the making. I'm just saying, it's just my opinion. Some people might disagree with that, but I wish we got a better Jurassic Park game here because, really, the movie and its legacy deserves that. But of course, that's just my opinion about Jurassic Park on SEGA Genesis. Let me know your own thoughts about this game down below in the comments section. Tell me, are you a big fan of Jurassic Park in general? Do you like the games which have come out based on the film or the book? What are also some of your other favorite movie-based games that you guys probably played growing up, or that you play right now? Give me some good ones that are like the complete opposite of this freaking game. At least ones that are really awesome or maybe timeless that you guys probably go back to multiple times. Talk to me about that stuff down below in the comments section. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching this video. I appreciate your support and all your good vibes as always. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon too to support my channel for new videos each week. You could also join my Patreon for early access to brand new videos and other exclusive content. Don't forget to join my Discord server too and be part of the community I have over here. If you're into games, then you'll love interacting with all the great people who are part of it. Thanks again, guys. Peace out and stay epic, everybody.